Welcome back to the Dylan Shea channel. Today we're doing a Tottenham squad ranking. Am I completely happy with the transfer window? I'm a Spurs fan, if you didn't know. It's just a video I wanted to do. Why not on a Friday afternoon? I'm a poet, and I know it. There's some players in here that have left Spurs, who's in here? Reguilon and Bellay, Lo Celso. But there's not ones as well like Dele Alli. He's not in here. But I just want to talk about, where I think some of them should have gone. Do I agree with Tottenham's transfer window? Do I think Conte, Daniel Levy, Parrott have got everything right? Let's have a look, shall we? I haven't actually planned any of this, so it's just sort of off the cuff, sort of just my thoughts in general on the players. Let's start off with we'll go Emerson Royal. I think Emerson Royal should be sold. I don't rate him at all. I think he's not Spurs level. I think Antonio Conte's improved him defensively and going forward a little bit. But I mean, he's just not Spurs level. I think like an Atletico Madrid is a good team for him, where he doesn't have to push up the pitch too much, but to be playing as a wing back for Spurs, I'm not keen. Let's move to Rodrigo Bentanco, and for me, first 11. I love him. I think he's just such an elegant player. Really press-proof in midfield, which is perfect for Conte, for counter-attacks. Hasn't looked the best so far this season, not as good as he did last year, but I think that's because Spurs are playing so deep. It's tough for him to sort of do things when every player to you is so close. So yeah, I really rate Bentanco. I think he's the one midfielder that has to start because all the other midfielders are sort of similar. Let's move on to Gill. Gill is a player that I actually rate. I think his technical ability is very good. And I'm going to say loan. I think he needed a loan in the Premier League though. I don't even think he ended up getting a loan move away in the end. So for me, I definitely think he should have gone on loan. He's not going to have a place in the squad. There's just too many attacking options above him. I think he's a really good player. I just think he needs, to play in the Premier League or somewhere in a league that's just a lot more physical than Spain. Let's go Matt Doherty, because for me, Matt Doherty is starting 11 worthy. I think he's our best right wing back easily. I haven't seen Jed Spence really play football that much, but what I've seen of all three, Matt Doherty towards the end of the season before he got injured was actually very, very good. Couldn't believe what I was watching. So I think I'm going to have to go Matt Doherty. I think he's a massive upgrade on Emerson Royal. I cannot wait for him to be back in the team, because that is when we looked our best. I look at the game. There was a game against Everton, Leeds, but Everton at home, he was fantastic. I think he had 3 assists. He was a massive part of our team actually. Let's go on to Harry Winks, Tottenham boy, homegrown, but it was time to move on. People saying, I've seen a lot of Spurs fans that say, he reached great heights, and he never did. He was always just an okay player. He had moments where he looked good. Even last season, he had moments where he looked good. He has a very good over-the-top through ball, an L1 triangle. Very good at those. Too many mistakes. He has a lack of concentration in midfield. I think his running is overrated. I don't think he actually puts that much effort in compared to some players. Let's go to Harvey White. Is that Harvey White? I think so. Like my Tottenham youth knowledge is actually not very good at all. I don't really keep up to tracks with it. I think this is Harvey White. Obviously loan. I don't think he ended up actually getting a loan in the end. Let's go to Alfie Devine. I think this is Alfie Devine. Again, loan. All the youngsters should be on loan. And we haven't done that enough at Spurs at all. Let's go Ryan Sessegnon. Now, Ryan Sessegnon is a player that can be good. I think he's nothing more than a squad player for us. Obviously can start games. You know, he was a starting 11 player for a team that got into the Champions League last year, so he did well. However, for me, there's just an upgrade on that position. I might as well go into it now, is Ivan Perisic. Just a massive upgrade on Ryan Sessegnon. I think the crossing is the biggest difference. When Perisic is on the wing, you just have absolute faith that he will manage to deliver a very good cross. We've seen against Chelsea that amazing corner. The game against, who was it? Wolves at home, the great flick on to Harry Kane. Yeah, very good. Let's go to Hugo. Let's go Hugo Laurice. Obviously, you know, for me, I think he's the most underrated Premier League goalkeeper. People say he's mistake-worthy, mistake-prone. People say he's not very good. You know, I feel like Laurice is one of them keepers. When people say, "Oh, what do you think of Laurice?" People go, whereas he's actually so much better than that. The last 2 years, he's been top 3 players. A magnificent goalkeeper, not world class, but I think he's a top 5 keeper in the league, definitely. Yeah, I think that's an unpopular opinion. But let's go Lucas Mora. To me, Lucas Mora is an interesting one. I haven't planned this, so is either sell or squad player. Because for me, when he comes on, he just doesn't, I'm not sure he does enough. I preferred Steven Bergwijn over Lucas Mora. I think he just had a bit more fight now. Lucas Mora a year ago, I think, was fantastic. But, you know, I will go squad player because that pace is frightening, can offer something. And he's actually started to play him in a right wing-back role now as well. And I thought he was good against Chelsea, actually, when he came on in that right wing-back position. What I would have preferred is probably maybe move him on and got someone else in. Or maybe that's for next, you know what, that's for next summer. You know, bring him out, get someone new in. But I think, yeah, maybe this year you can offer something. Ben Davies. Ben Davies is a first 11. For me, no, he's not. He should be a squad player, shouldn't he? Because we should have got someone else in my opinion. I think Longley, the problem with Longley is I'm not sure how good he is, to be honest. I'm sure he's a good player. I've seen a lot of people, those, you know, Barca fans, saying he's not very good. I think we needed a Pau Torres, a different player in there. Because Ben Davies, although he's been fantastic under Conte, I just think there's times where on the ball he looks off, lack of concentration, he loses the ball quite a lot. And I think if you want to, what we got to remember is the aspirations that Conte has. The aspirations that Conte has is to win the Premier League with Tottenham or the Champions League. But can you really push on for the league with Ben Davies? I'm just not sure. Harry Kane, let's go Harry Kane. First 11, Tottenham's best player, one of the best in the world. I thought the second half of the season last year, he was easily the best player in the Premier League. You know, just a shame he had such an awful first half. Yeah, he should have been player of the season 2 seasons ago when Ruben Diaz won it. Top playmaker, top goal scorer in that season. Last year was magnificent as well, so I'll have to, you know, obviously first 11. Let's go Oliver Skipp. Now, Oliver Skipp is a player who I rate very, very highly. Squad player, could be first 11. There's just another player that I think will eventually get that role. I really like him. When Basuma came in as a sign-in, and let's just put Basuma in as well, in first 11. When Basuma came in, I was obviously buzzing because he's an amazing player. And he ran the game against Spurs twice last season. But Skipp, you always want to see one of your own play for the club. So that sort of gives him some added points. But he's actually a really, really good player. For me, I think he's better than Højbjerg. Højbjerg just does weird things now and then. I think you've even seen it against West Ham, where he's just moaning to the ref instead of tracking his man, and that's how West Ham actually score. Even though I rate Højbjerg, I think Højbjerg's a very good player. But for me, Skip just offers so much defensively. He doesn't stop running, he plays for the badge, and on the ball he's improved a lot as well in the past few years. I think he's a really, really good player, squad player, but a really good squad player, nearly in the starting 11. Let's go on to Lo Celso, who I think needed to be sold. I've heard things in the club saying he was a bit, he's a bit of a dick, basically, and you don't need them around in your team. Let's go Eric Dyer. Eric Dyer, definitely first 11, has to be called up for England, has to be. You know, in that middle role, that middle centre-back in a back three, just completely, I think, revived his career, because Eric Dyer was only on one trajectory. Eric Dyer in a back four with Damson Sanchez under Jose Mourinho was a horror show, an absolute horror show. Had that thing with his brother in the Norwich stands. His career just seemed to be going downhill, but being in that middle of a back three really revived his career. He's been so impressive, and I think he has to be called up for England over Harry Maguire, definitely. Let's go on to another centre-back. Let's go Joe Rhoden, because Joe Rhoden to me is a player that I think he's okay. I don't think he's very good. He's definitely not one of these two. Is he a loan worthy for this season? I know he's on loan, but to me, I would have just sold him, to be honest. I don't think he's going to make it at Spurs. I don't think he's going to be a squad player or a first 11. I think just send him somewhere where he's going to get first team football. Yeah, sell for me, definitely. Troy Parrott. Troy Parrott is a player that did really good for MK Dons last year. And now, he's at Preston on loan. So yeah, I think that's the right move for him. A team in the Championship is a good step, and hopefully he does well. Hopefully he does really well. Let's go on to Sergio Reguilon, who, to me, I think could easily be one of these two. I think first 11, I rate Reguilon. I think he's good. I think he was really good under Mourinho for a spell for the first 3 quarters of the season. Did fall off a little bit. He just seemed really tired towards the end. Maybe he was a bit homesick. I'm not sure. I think he's good enough to be squad player at Spurs, but I think he's someone who demands first team football. I think he's good enough, and I really liked this signing at the time, because we had Ben Davies at left back, and watching Ben Davies at left back for 2 years was very, very, it was a hard thing to do. It was a struggle, and he was just a massive upgrade on him. So I've always liked Reguilon, but I think it's just not going to work. So I'm going to go sell. I don't think Conte fancies him, and when Conte doesn't fancy him, it's pretty much over. There's no point for me a loan. I think it has to be with an option to buy. He's just gone to Atletico Madrid. Obviously, good move for him, but I think sell eventually, because he's too good to be on the bench, in my opinion. He has to be playing first team football somewhere. Let's go to Damson Sanchez. Now, Damson Sanchez is actually someone that's turned into a very good squad player for us, because we didn't concede within 9 hours of playing him. He's been very good under Conte. Looks a bit more mature, obviously, on the ball. He's not always been very good. He's still not very good. But what I like with him, it's sort of what Laurice has actually done, is they know that they're not good with the ball at their feet. So they've stopped taking stupid risks. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's a positive. I think when you've got a player who's not comfortable on the ball, and you try and make them this ball-playing centre-back, I don't think it's a good idea. It will just cause him mistakes. And I think that's what Damson Sanchez has done. He's just become a very mature player now. And yeah, a very good squad player for us. Has always been solid coming in for Romero when he's been injured. Let's go on to Japhet Tanganga. For me, I think it's probably sell. He had an amazing game against Man City on the first day of the season last year. So I think he has to be gone. Homegrown, you'd like to see him do well, but I think going to do better somewhere else. Let's go on to, is it Walcott? Is this Fagan Walcott? I'm not sure. We'll go loan. I'm not too sure, to be honest. Let's go on to Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, and for me, squad player / first 11, very close to first 11. Eventually, I think it could be a sell, to be honest. I think he'll just demand first team football, which I like in a player. I wouldn't be angry with him at all if he did that. But I just think Bissouma is just a bit better, isn't he, than Højbjerg. I do like Højbjerg. Amazing for Denmark. Been amazing for us as well for £15 million. And I think he's a captain-worthy player. But I just have gone squad player because I think Bissouma's just a level above. I think for this season, probably actually will be mostly first 11. But as time goes on, Bissouma I think will take over that role. Let's go Foster, obviously squad player. Austin, squad player. Let's go Christian Romero, obviously first 11, one of the best defenders, well, in the world, in my opinion. I think he's the third best probably in the Premier League. You'd put him behind Van Dijk and Thiago Silva. I think he's third. I think he's amazing. He's a perfect balance of a modern centre-back and an old-school centre-back. And we all love old-school centre-backs, you know, just charging into someone 50-50, a bit of a shithouse. And yeah, I just love the guy. I think most Spurs fans do. I think even people who ain't Spurs fans like him. I know Jamie Carragher likes him a lot. But on the ball as well, he's fantastic. You know, really calm, that really loses it. He has a good over-the-top through ball. He has a good, he's got a pick and a pass to Harry Kane in between the lines as well, which obviously works very well for us, part of our play. Yeah, amazing player, amazing. Our best defender by far. Let's go Heung-min Son, first 11, obviously, one of the best in the world, best wingers anyway. I think really started this season awfully, to be honest. I think for the next game, I think you could see Richarlison in for him. Because if you have a player like Richarlison, who you've spent £60 million on, then, you know, if Son isn't doing well, you have to bring him in. However, I do trust him to bring it back. He's done this quite a lot in his career for Spurs. He'll have 5 or 6 games off, and then he'll have 15 games in a row then, where he's just unbelievable. The Golden Boot current holder, you know, not one penalty goal as well. Unbelievable player, Heung-min Son. Love him. One of my favourites at Spurs. Let's go to Richarlison, obviously a squad player. And the thing I love about this team now is, look at these squad players. You have Skip, you have Ben Davis, you have Lucas Mora, Damson Sanchez, Højbjerg, Richarlison, all the squad players 2 or 3 years ago, or even a year and a half ago. Most of these are your starters. So for these now to be squad players, I think it just shows how much we've levelled up in the past season. Next, let's go Dane Scarlett. Now, you know, he's known as the star boy of Spurs. You know, many players in training have been impressed with him. When he came on in Europa League 2 and Europa League games for us and got some minutes in the Premier League, he just looked massively out of his depth, to be honest. Didn't look ready for it at all. So I think the move to a League One side in Portsmouth is very good for him. He's got 2 goals as well now. Seems to be settling well. Yeah, I have big hopes for Dane Scarlett. I do. Only 18, I think, as well. The thing is, he has just such big shoes to fill in Harry Kane that I think as Spurs fans, I think we'll have to remember that not every striker will be as good as Kane in the future. So yeah, a loan move for Dane Scarlett, I think, was the right choice. Let's go in Bellay. Now, easily, in the past 4 years, 3 years, my favourite player at Spurs. Honestly, just watching a player with so much technique, so much composure, to be so press-proof in midfield, just all the talent in the world. I think he's easily could be one of the best midfielders on the planet. I think he should be he could be a starter for France if he just applied himself. Honestly, it's so frustrating. So frustrating. I've not seen many midfielders with the intelligence of Tanguy Ndombele. I haven't. He's unbelievable, but his commitment, efforts, it's just not there. He just hasn't done it, and it has to be a sell because you just can't have players like that in the squad. They're just not going to work. Let's go Jed Spence, squad player, especially for this season. I don't think Conte fancies him that much, to be honest. I know he's a very quick player. I haven't seen enough of him. Don't really have much more to say than that, but Jed Spence. But Kulusevski, let's go on to him now. Obviously a starter for Spurs. For me, my favourite player at Tottenham now. I love the guy. He seems like a really funny person as well. Speaking of intelligence, it's not normal for a 21-year-old to have this much intelligence and play like a 30-year-old. He just makes the right decisions so many times. Look at that game against West Ham again. The pass to Harry Kane there is just unbelievable with his right foot. And, you know, when he cuts in on the left, you know it's going to be a good cross. He's a really good ball carrier, really good finisher as well. Scored quite a lot of goals since coming to Spurs. So many assists. I think he's got like 10 league assists, which is the most in the Premier League in 2022. Yeah, what a player. What a player we have there. And yeah, that settles the Tottenham team. Obviously, Ben Davies, I don't move him up because, in my opinion, he should be a squad player. But, and we should have got someone else in. So I'll keep him there actually. So there's 1, 2, 3. Obviously got Doherty, we've got Perez, Bentanco, Bissouma, Son, Kane, Kulusevski. There's the front three. To me, there's just a left centre-back there missing. I think we could have got a better right-back as well, but the market wasn't massive for them. Ultimately, I'm very happy with our squad. Yeah, let me know where you would have some of the players. How do you think we did in the transfer window? Subscribe for more videos. I will be uploading more. Like the video if you have enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.